Love is like Arsenal's title challenge. Starts with hope, it gets intense, and then suddenly you're left wondering what went wrong. But don't worry, we've got you covered this Valentine's Day. We've called in the best in the business, or at least the best we could find, to help you with your relationship or love dilemmas.
Is your partner moving like a free agent, debating whether you're building for the future or just wasting wages on a flop?
Well, now it's time to listen to what the experts have to say.
I can't wait for that to drop. Hi, and welcome along to our nightly show here at 7 o'clock. I'll tell you what, I can't wait for that to drop tomorrow. I haven't seen it yet, but advice from Ty on love and Julian. Can't wait. Can't wait for it to drop. It's going to be out tomorrow. Of course, tomorrow is Valentine's Day. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that video. But listen, thanks for joining me tonight. Of course, we're here every single night at 7 p.m. Want to find out how you guys are feeling. Got some news about Kai Havertz. We've been talking about it for the last couple of days, but we've got an update on that. And also I wanted to find out about how you guys are feeling ahead of the Leicester game. And what did you make of last night? Liverpool throwing away a lead and dropping points against Everton. Does that let Arsenal back in? Are Arsenal capable of winning the league with the strike force that we've got? But first of all, we've got to start off with the news that was confirmed today about Kai Havertz. A real brief update on the Arsenal website, giving us news that we kind of already knew. They said that we can confirm that Kai Havertz has sustained a hamstring injury during his training session in Dubai last week. Subsequent assessments and specialist reviews have confirmed that the injury will require surgery. Bad news, which will take place in the coming days. Soon after the surgery, Kai will begin his recovery and rehabilitation program, which is expected to extend into pre-season preparations for next season. That, in other words, means he's out for the season. Everyone at the club is fully focused on supporting Kai to ensure he's back to full fitness as soon as possible. So really, really bad news, first of all, for Kai Havertz himself, the player. Effectively, his season is run, it's done. So he won't be able to be paid for Arsenal again for the rest of the season. No more Germany internationals as well. So a big, big blow to him. And it's the same injury as Bukayo Saka, which Bukayo Saka has had to have surgery on his hamstring. Same injury, serious hamstring injury for Kai Havertz. He's going to have surgery on it as well. And I'll tell you, if you want to find out a lot more about hamstring injuries, we had Dr. Andre on today on the Invincible podcast. That's going to be coming out tomorrow, I think. Please go and watch that. He really, really explains a lot about hamstring injuries and why some of these injuries require surgery. But when they do require surgery, it's the worst type of hamstring injury. And it's an injury that needs complete rehabilitation. And if you don't, do the rehabilitation properly, you can actually come back worse. And he was even saying that sometimes there's some players, some players that haven't really come back being the same player they were before. Not always the case in a small percentage of players, but some players don't come back being as good as they were before. And let's hope that that's not going to be the case when it comes to Kai Havertz. So confirmed, Kai Havertz misses the rest of the season. Saka, we don't know when he's going to be back. Martinelli's out. And of course, we know Gabriel Jesus is out as well, which effectively, as we know, leaves us, should I say, with 3 forward players, not strikers, no strikers, 3 forward players. Raheem Sterling, who's not seemed to have been trusted this season by the manager. Ethan Nwaneri, a 17-year-old, and Leandro Trossard. That is Arsenal's attacking lineup. I can tell you, unless one of them get injured, to take on Leicester City this week. Never drink. We got problems, y'all. It's confirmed. It's confirmed. So that is it. And we're going to have to get on with it. We're going to have to get on with it. That's what we've been dealt. I know we've been moaning about it the last couple of days, whose fault it is, why we didn't buy somebody in the transfer window, why we left ourselves so short. We can moan, we can groan, we can say everything we want to say. That's it. That's what we're left with. The transfer window's closed, and that's what we're left with. And there's nothing we can do about it. I've seen some people suggesting that Arsenal could go out there and maybe bring in a free agent. And there's been a lot of talk about Diego Costa. Remember him? He used to play for Chelsea, released by his club over there in Brazil, available now on a free transfer, 36 years of age. Not the answer to Arsenal's problems. Definitely not. But even he's been suggested. What it is, the free attacking players we've got, that's what we're going to have to use. And maybe we're going to have to get pretty creative with some of the other players. And I'd love to hear from you guys of do we change tactics? Is there somebody else we put up front? Is there, I mean, listen, I want to hear from you guys. I want to hear from you guys tonight. But it's confirmed. Havertz out for the rest of the season. And the really annoying thing was about it is that, I don't know if you guys watched the game last night. I've got to say, the Merseyside derby last night, last Merseyside derby was absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. That's what I love about football. You know, when you see a game like that, you know, that's Premier League football, the passion of it, the way in which Everton fought to the end, the controversies, red cards in the game, the manager gets sent off, Arne Slot seemed to lose his cool. But Liverpool dropped points. So now Liverpool, they've played their game in hand. They're now 7 points ahead of Arsenal in second place. Can Arsenal still win the league? Is there a possibility, with all the injuries and adversity now that Arsenal are going to face, can they win the league? I really, really like this comment that I saw come in. This is from Mike 697 Donch. He says, let's see how good Arteta is now. Hope he doesn't make excuses like Ange. A lot of people have sort of been not really focusing on the fact that Arsenal's injuries this season have been horrendous. When you compare it to last season, where we went most of last season with people just players fit. Remember, the only player that was really injured, two players really, Thomas Partey had big injury issues all season last year, and Tomiyasu, who's out again this year. And there's talk that he might even have to have knee surgery because his problems just still not going away. But this season, the injuries have been horrendous. Of course, you already know, as you know, Havertz, Saka, you know, those two players, and Jesus, all of them out for long periods. But remember, Martin Odegaard, towards the start of the season, he missed nearly, 3 months. Ben White, again, had to have surgery. He's been out, only just looking like he's on his way back now, was in training over there in Dubai. I mean, some key players have been missing. As I said, Tomiyasu, but some key players have been missing throughout the season. I think we've had I think as it stands, we've had the third most injuries of any Premier League team this season. When you contrast that with Liverpool, who basically had a fairly injury-free time. They've had some injuries, but nothing compared to Arsenal, and especially not to key players like Arsenal. You got to say we've done well to even be in second place and to have qualified without having to go for a playoff in the Champions League. But also, that's again damning, because you know the powers that be would have seen the fact that, you know, we were picking up a lot of injuries this season, and surely you would have brought in cover. But we've had a lot of injuries, but can we go all the way now and push for that league? Liverpool dropping points yesterday, 7 points now is the difference. We go to Leicester this weekend. They have got a home game against Wolves. You'd expect them to win that, but Look at some of the games that Liverpool have got coming up. They've got to go away to Manchester City. That's not going to be easy. They got Newcastle coming up, and they've also got to go away to Aston Villa. Those are 3 really difficult games. Arsenal got tough games as well. We've got West Ham at home, winnable. Got to go away to Nottingham Forest. That's going to be really, really tough. But there is a chance that Liverpool could drop more points in some of those really difficult games that they got coming up. And if they do, Arsenal have got to capitalise on it. And it's no point, I think, now that it's confirmed about Havertz, I'm sort of in the mode of, right, time to move on. Time to start thinking about how we can win this league. You know, what can we do? But I want to know from you guys, is it still doable or is it done? I would love to hear from you guys. Like this comment here that came in from Simon H. He says, the same ones who are saying that we have no chance are the same ones who are saying Havertz is useless. It is what it is. We ain't the first team to challenge. First team challenging to have an injury crisis. Real Madrid do it every season. That's true. Real Madrid have got an injury crisis this season in defence, and they're still, I think they're top of their league over in or joint top, you know. But yeah, that's Real Madrid. They still got a really good squad. Wax says Ethan is the one to step up. Ethan Nwaneri has got a really big part to play between now and the end of the season. Still only 17, remember. Remember as well, another player that has just come back recently from injury, suffered an injury as well. But he's going to have to play loads of games now. We're not going to be able to manage his minutes like what you'd like to do with a 17-year-old. He's going to have to start practically every game for Arsenal. So, yeah, I mean, you know, Ethan Nwaneri's got a big part to play. Christian says, as dumb as it is, I'd take Costa right now. 36-year-old Diego Costa, released from his team in Brazil. Is that the answer? I know he's a striker. I know he's a body. Is he fit enough to play in the Arsenal system? I don't know. I mean, it really is. Well, we are desperate. I guess we are desperate. So, you know, but imagine Diego Costa at Arsenal. Oh my days! All these years later, Michael says, "Absolute joke. That window has completely killed our season and any chance of any silverware." So, yeah, he's given up hope. He doesn't think it's possible at all. Another suggestion here. This one saying that Calafiori left back and push Lewis Skelly to left wing. If anything, there's a couple of options on that left wing. There's Calafiori, who we've seen play further forward there a couple of times. That's definitely an option. I'm having a little bit of think about this. And remember, he scored a couple of goals this season. He scored a goal against Manchester City, and he scored that really excellent finish against Wolves. And he was playing in a really forward position there. So possibly Calafiori is an option to play on that left wing. There's also Kieran Tierney. We've seen him push further forward many a time. Used to playing as a wing back. So could Kieran Tierney play as a left winger? Really good at whipping the ball into the box. We've got a really, really good delivery on him. Is Kieran Tierney an option on that left-hand side? So that's another one. And there's also players like Zinchenko. Zinchenko, not necessarily as a forward player, but what about, you know, pushing him into midfield? There's been lots and lots of talk about that for a very long time, pushing him into midfield. He plays sort of in that position when he's playing for Ukraine, and seeing what he can do in that position, and then maybe pushing Mikel Merino into a sort of striker position. So these are going to be some of the options that might have to be explored by Mikel Arteta. But, you know, needs must. Let's get some more comments coming in. This is a super chat coming from 9080 Rules. He says, it's not over at this time, but if you ask me to place a bet on it, I'd say this is another trophyless season. We don't have the squad. Second place in the Premier League in January with all the injuries, and the board say F you to the season. Can't really argue. You listen, you can't argue with these when they come in now. You know what I mean? And people are saying that. You just can't argue. VM says, after 20 years of the Cronkies, why is it that the fans only protested during the end of Wenger's tenure and the Super League debacle? Do people not care? Well, the problem is now, even with protests, they own the whole club, 100%. They don't even have to. I saw last night that somebody was saying, why don't we have board meetings anymore? They don't have to. They don't have to have board meetings anymore. Because they own all the clubs, so they don't even have to answer to board members because it's theirs. Stan Kroenke's. Christian says it sucks so bad to see there's a chance with Liverpool dropping points. And excuse me, Lloyd says even with Kai, we never stood a chance. All because this team has zero ambition to win everything, which makes me think they lied to Rice and us fans. Saka, Saliba will soon be disillusioned and leave. And that's a sentiment that's been reflected by a lot of people. What happens to Saka and guys like that? King Alex has said to Ray and nephew Robbie, I've got this little annoying throat cough, man. It's just been bugging me for the last week or so. I've got a little water here that I'm trying to use to just trying to soften the blow. Let's go for Yedda, says Harry Stewart. Ben Yedda is available. Another player that's available on a free. He is a striker. It depends what shape these guys are in. It depends. Could these guys come in and do a job? It really, really depends, but I don't know, man. I don't know. It is a thing that we still got to go through. We still got things to play for. And it's almost like we're going to have to forget about the injuries to Havertz, the injuries to Saka, all of these injuries, and get on with it. Like somebody said before. And I think actually, to be fair to Arsenal, so far this season, they have been getting on with it because they have had a lot of injuries and Arteta's not really moaned about it. How many times have we seen Thomas Partey have to play in at right back, But even though it's going to hamper us, we have to get on with it. We have to get on with it. I mean, we got Leicester on the weekend. Leicester will be licking their lips. Well, I don't know about licking their lips because they've been in a lot of trouble. But they might be feeling a little more confident now because of the injuries. What Arsenal are going to have to do is go and put in a performance against Leicester, which shows the whole Premier League that we're not feeling sorry for ourselves and that we want to still go and win this league. Go and win it for those players that are injured. So I know we've all been angry, we've all been upset, we've all been feeling a bit down, but I think now it's going to come the time now. We've got to lift ourselves up and look ahead to the challenge. What can we do? All right, we haven't been helped out by the ownership or the team that buys players or whoever it is. We haven't been helped out by them. But these players, do you have it within you to go out there and fight? Fight to try and win the league or the Champions League and see where that takes you. That is what we're going to find out. We're going to find out a lot about the character of the team because certainly there's a lot of adversity. And of course, let's see where that takes us. Big up to Mr. Kaplan with a super chat. He says, I'm gutted but hopeful, channeling my inner Uncle Ty. Well, he's hopeful in every situation, that's for sure. But yeah, I mean, that's what it's got to be. That's, Havertz is out. Saka's out. Jesus gone. All gone. Dynamic says, stop complaining about Arteta then. It's them bloody owners. Whoever it is. It is what it is now. This is what we got. Black Money says, no chance in hell, no chance. WWE settings, bruv, right? So he's not offering any chance. Brian says, we are Liverpool of last year. Well, yeah, they didn't finish too well. Sorry, there was this comment. Yeah, Alex Skinner says, everything has gone against us this season. Listen, we've had red cards galore. We've had injuries galore. But we still got to go for it. Still got something to play for. This comment coming in says, City replaced Grealish with Doku, Savio, and now Marmoush. We are still hanging on with Havertz and Jesus. Transfer for a long time. Joke of a board, he says. As I said, we know. But Nathan says, can you imagine we get Real Madrid in the Champions League with this squad? We was talking about that today. You know, you saw how good they were the other night. And that's despite injuries, by the way, because where Arsenal are really depleted up front, Real Madrid have been depleted for a lot of this season in defence. And you've seen, you know, they've struggled. You know, any team struggles if you don't have some of those pieces. Real Madrid have struggled this season. Remember, they're in a playoff. And they're in a playoff for a reason. Because they've struggled in the Champions League. Finished very low down. And had it not been for a little late rally, they could well have gone out and not qualified in that first 24 teams. Real Madrid. And they struggled a bit in the league as well, even though they've picked it up in recent weeks. But they've had their attack scoring goals, bailing them out. But they've really struggled in defence. They've had to play players like Tuameni there. I mean, yeah, it's been a struggle for them as well. So it's not unique to Arsenal. It's not unique to Arsenal. We've got to get on with it now. We have to get on with it and try and see what we can do. Christian says, I'm still hopeful. Dubai somehow always reignites some of our players. Didn't we have it? I don't know why, but we have to have faith. Liverpool dropped points. It has to mean something. All of this does. Got to keep fighting till the end. Definitely got to keep fighting to the end, for sure. This one coming in from Philip. He says, love your work, Robbie. Liverpool fan here. And give you some stick on DR. But just want to say, love what you've done in this space. Best on YouTube. Thank you very much. Liverpool fans are coming for me today. I was on DR. And I was having a couple of little digs at Liverpool fans, as an Arsenal fan would, about that game last night. But listen, Liverpool are still 7 points clear. That's still a lot of points. But there's still something to fight for Arsenal. Liverpool definitely the favourites when you look at their firepower, when you look at they don't really have any injuries at the moment. All the key players are firing. Van Dijk, Konate in defence are solid. Salah's doing the business up front. Same with Gakpo. Nunes comes on, chips in with the goals. It's all looking great for them at the moment. But Arsenal, it's a bit like a boxing fight where you got that slick fighter and he's just there and he's just laying all the jabs and he's looking miles ahead. You got to hang in there. We got to do a Derek Chisora right now. He's got to keep fighting and see if we can land that knockout blow. OGN D Brown says forward player injuries, formula. Too much pressing and defending, not enough rotation. You could argue that. Yeah, I mean, you could look at the two players in particular, in Saka and Havertz, who both suffered exactly the same injury, which is, basically hamstring tear, which requires surgery. One of the worst type of hamstring injuries you can get. The common denominator with both of them is that they both played at the Euros, loads and loads of games. They both played literally every game for Arsenal, and they've both not had, even when there's an international break, they both go off with their international teams. They have not had any time off, and you're playing in a high-energy, high-pressing, hard-working team like Arsenal, which requires you to get back. Both of them haven't had a lot of rotation because of the small squad that we've got, and both of them are out with the same injury. We've got to learn lessons from this. This small squad thing that Mikel Arteta, he said at the start of the season, I opted to go with a small squad. Can't do that next season. We've got a history of injuries. Can't do that. Mr. Kaplan says, D-Day, we win the league, Champions League. Arteta will leave. Mark my words. The Don is right. He tried to pass a message to the board in January and they left him for dead. Watch out. Hope that's not the true that he will end up leaving and this whole project falls over. We've got to do something. We've worked so hard to get to where we are. We've got to do something with all these good players that we've got. Guna Daly says, hi, Robbie. My brother going out with Vardy on Saturday. I'm from Norway. And first match in a few years. Can I get on a fan cam? Love. Yes, you can. We'll be filming outside the ground. I will be there at Leicester. Looking forward to it. And yeah, would love to have you on. So just look out for us. I can't tell you the exact spot, but we're outside the ground. We're always there. Just on that Leicester game, I was looking at some of the stats. And we've got a very, very good record against Leicester, even before the sort of horrendous season that they've been having. Just to read you off a couple of stats around that Leicester game. Leicester have lost each of their 6 Premier League games against Arsenal, having won 4 of their 6 against the Gunners before this run. So their last 6 games, they've lost to Arsenal. Arsenal have won their last 3 Premier League away games against Leicester, just 1 fewer than they managed across their first 14 visits to Filbert Street, back in the day, Filbert Street, and the King Power in the competition. And Arsenal have won 21 of their last 25 Premier League matches against sides sitting in the relegation zone. Drawn 3, lost 1, with their only defeat in that spell coming away on the 19th, away to 19th place Everton in February 2023, when they lost 1-0. And then still on Leicester, Leicester have lost each of their last 4 Premier League home games without even scoring. I'll tell you, we have to win this game. I mean, if we lost to Leicester, I mean, they've been horrendous. One of the worst teams as well at defending set pieces in the league. There's a real big chance for Arsenal to go there and get 3 points. It's a 12:30 kickoff UK time on Saturday. Liverpool don't play till the Sunday. Win that game. All of a sudden, Arsenal 4 points behind Liverpool. Obviously, Liverpool will have that game in hand because they'll be playing on the Sunday against Wolves. But this is the kind of pressure that Arsenal needs to apply. Go there, get that win, and then say, over to you, Liverpool. Over to you. This is the sort of pressure that Arsenal have to apply if they are to really, put some pressure on Liverpool. Imagine if that did happen. We beat Leicester and they lost to Wolves or even drew. And then all of a sudden, Arsenal are starting to get closer. That does start to get you a little bit nervous. So listen, we've been there. We've been there as that team where City just started getting closer and closer and closer, and that lead's whittling away. And before you know it, bang, they've just gone past you. So yeah, some more free agents here being suggested by Francois. He said Diego Costa and free agents Carlos Vela and Giroud on loan. Giroud a free agent? Let me just double check that. But they're saying Giroud is on loan. Let me see, because I thought he was playing out in America. All right, let me see if Giroud's on loan. Sorry, bear with me, guys. Let me just double check this, because I'm sure he was he's playing in LA. Let's go. Yeah, he's still LAFC. So yeah, Giroud's not available. I mean, if he was available on a free transfer, I'll go and get him. Especially for set pieces, Giroud in the air. Yeah, Carlos Vela. Again, we're going way back, aren't we? Jervis says we will not lose on Saturday. We can't lose. We cannot lose that game on Saturday. If we do, I think it's done. You know? Yeah, Michael, with your super chat, you wasted your money. You know, because we're not posting that. So and let's get this one. Jay Federer. Jay says, gotta go with a back three. We've got 3 forwards, but 9 defenders. What's your guys? You know, I want to get your steer on this as well. Do we change tactics now from now till the end of the season? Should also be thinking about changing tactics. You know, basically we like to play with 3 forwards. Should we be thinking about going with a 3 at the back? I don't personally like the 3 at the back system in the Premier League. I don't know. It's you leave yourself with only 2 midfielders sometimes, and you can quite easily get overrun. So I don't really like that system. We're seeing Man United play at the moment. It's not really working. I don't know, but it's an option. It's an option that you could go with. But what do you guys think? Is it something worth trying? I definitely feel we might have to adapt with, you know, the lack of players that we got. And also, you know, I want to hear from you guys. Who do you think, when you look around that Arsenal team, who do you think in there could play as a striker? Who could be an emergency striker in that team and why? I want to know. I want you to give me the name of someone and why. Right? Throwing it open to you guys. Big up to Gary. He says, I think we learn a lot about this team on Saturday. Very true, Gary. Very true. We're going to learn a lot about them over the next few weeks. But very, very true. We're going to find out a lot about the character of this team. Trossard Gilberto says, in a false 9. Yep. I mean, Trossard, remember at the start of the season when he scored that goal against Villa and he didn't want to celebrate because he was upset that he's not starting games. Well, Leandro Trossard, you now have the opportunity to start as many games as you want from now till the end of the season. Go and show the manager why you should be starting every game, why you can play as a striker. This is the opportunity for players to rise. Ethan Nwaneri, you can make, I mean, you've already made a name for yourself this season, but you could make an unbelievable name for yourself. You know, you could, from now till the end of the season, put in some amazing performance week in, week out that could earn you an England spot and things like that. It's a big opportunity for Ethan Nwaneri. Raheem Sterling, the forgotten man of England. Remember, he was England's main man. The forgotten man of England, the forgotten man of your club Chelsea, which you're on loan at. You said you've got a lot to prove. Now go and prove it. You're going to get game after game after game. Go out there now. No more cameos. Go out there and show the world that you're still Raheem Sterling and that you're not washed up. Big, big opportunities. It's going to tell us a lot about some of these players. It's going to tell us a lot about them. Aaron says, Mikel Merino has experience of playing higher up for Spain. I've seen Merino suggested a lot of time as that player who could play as a striker. Roman says, Calafiori, good strikes on the ball. Definitely, I think, you know, as a striker, definitely on the left. Ethan, simple as. Arteta has suggested that before as well. That, you know, Ethan Nwaneri could play as a striker. He's also suggested Sterling as a false number 9. Rohif says, Barca have all their financial problems. Flick in his first season, 7 kids in their starting lineup and starting 11, destroying teams. Meanwhile, we with Arteta for 5 years, God help us. I think it's a different type of league, Rohit. I'm sorry. Let me just say this. I don't know if you're going to agree with me or not. I think that league, and bear with me before you come jumping in, that Spanish league, easier league to win than the Premier League. Now, of course, you've got Real Madrid, a team that would win the Premier League. Atletico Madrid, a team capable of winning the Premier League. And also you have, of course, Barcelona, a team capable of winning the Premier League. I don't think any of the other teams will get near it. I think, I don't think those teams are as good as the Premier League teams. I think they do well in knockout competitions, but week in, week out, apart from those three I've just named, that league's a lot easier. The Premier League is more competitive than La Liga. You got about 3-4 powerhouse teams, and then the rest of the league is pretty average. And that's the truth of the matter. So I think you could go and survive more with injuries in that league. And I know you might say, well, they've done very well in the Champions League, which is true. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure about if they would be able to do that as effectively in the Premier League. Although, listen, let's give it up to Hansi Flick. He's done brilliantly so far. Goon Gang AFC says Calafiori centre forward. Zlatinano scores bangers. And we've got Sean Page who says academy prospect. Yeah, right. Michael Robinson says, what about moving Odegaard to a false 9, then move Mars Lewis Skelly to midfield, Calafiori to left back? I'm not sure. Odegaard's missed so many chances this season. I'm not sure if I fancy him as a false 9. He's already in a lot of situations kind of in that position, but he's missed a lot of chances. He also is going to have to step up now. When we talk about the character of the team, I think he's had a very average season. We know he was out with all the injuries and that, but his finishing's been really diabolical. He's missed some really big chances this season by his very high standards, Martin Odegaard. But it's captain time. This is what you get made captain for. It's captain time now. Captain Odegaard, we need you to step up. We need you. We need you between now and the end of the season. What about Henry return? Bet he still could. I remember the first Henry return. That was absolutely insane. That was marvellous. I remember being there when he came on in that game, the Leeds game. But that was a long time ago. And unfortunately, he can't put his boots back on and play as well as he looks when you see him on TV. Another super chat comes from Costa, who says, Robbie, sorry I hopped on late. So this may have been addressed already, but why not Ben Yedder? He scored 20 goals for AS Monaco last year. Why is the club so set on dealing with this internally? Yeah, there's Ben Yedder. There's Ben Yedder. He's a free agent. Was it last year he scored those 20 goals? Let me just have a look at do a bit of scouting whilst we're here. Let me look at what Ben Yedder was doing. He's a free agent. But did he get 20 last year? Let me see. Sorry, I'm just doing a little search, people. Bear with me. Wassim Ben Yedder, centre forward. I'm going here on Transfer Market to take a look at his stats. Without a club, released by Monaco, as he said. Last year he was at Sevilla, wasn't he? He's at Sevilla last year. I'm trying to find what he just got his... Right, let me see what he did at Sevilla. We're checking out his stats. So bear with me, people. This is live. We're live here, man. But I need to see if Ben Yedder might be a possibility. Right. 32. Oh, it's not breaking. All right. So last year, 16 goals. Yeah, 20 goals for the season. You're right. He scored 16 goals in the league, and he scored 4 goals in the cups. So, yeah, 20 goals last season in all competitions. He scored the previous season to that. He scored 19 goals. He is available on a free. He's without a club at the moment. 34 years of age now, so knocking on a bit, but he's a striker. Good suggestion there, Kusta. Maybe Arsenal need to be looking at him and seeing if, And I remember us last summer being linked with him as well. So, bit old, but we're in a crisis. And if he could come in and do a little job, you know, a play, even if, listen, I'm saying that, even if it's a player like that and you bring him off the bench for the last 15 minutes of a game when you're chasing, don't know what his fitness is like, don't know where he's at, but worth exploring, definitely. Lambo UK says, why do we have an under-21 team if we don't use them in a crisis? We need to try Nathan Butley-Adey. I think we might see him. He's been on the bench in quite a few games, hasn't really got on, but I think we could definitely see him. Chido, who went, you know, obviously to Manchester United, if he'd have stayed at Arsenal now, he'd be getting regular football between now and end of the season instead of playing for Manchester United under-18s. Bring back fan zone. This is inexpensive capitalism. Well, listen, we have actually got, we're actually going to be bringing back fan zone as part of these lives coming up in the next few weeks. So look out for that. Chance to get as many of you on as possible. Scape says free agent daily till the end of the season. I like that. Hi, welcome along to Free Agent Daily. We've just seen that such and such is available. Yaya Sanogo is available. Oh, God, is this what it's come to, people? Free Agent Daily. Oh, my days. Oh, man. Play Sterling as a false nine, says Dynamic. Well, he did used to play in that false nine position at Manchester City, but that was quite a few years ago. And as I said, this is your opportunity, Raheem Sterling. Time to rise. You're going to get to play. All these excuses are getting made for some of these players like Raheem Sterling. Well, it's difficult because he's only just coming in every now and again. But you're going to get a chance now to play week in, week out. This is your chance to show everybody what you're made of. You know? This guy says, rise. Rise. Right? Get Curtis Shaw as a free agent. Oh, listen, they're not even Arsenal that desperate. Curtis, listen, Curtis is a good footballer, though. He is a really, really good footballer. But his time is done, right? And I think he'd admit that his time is done. Sanders says, Don, do you really think that we stand a chance to sign Isak this summer? I think, listen, Isak's going to be in demand from a lot of clubs come this summer. But I think a few things are going to have to happen. I think if Newcastle get into the Champions League, I don't even think they'll sell Isak. They will not want to sell Isak. He's their prized asset. I think if they don't get into the Champions League, a player like Isak starts to think, well, I'm too good not to be playing in the Champions League. I'll take that for 1 year, but 2 years in a row, nah, maybe I need to start looking elsewhere, especially also if they don't win anything this season. Again, he might look on it that way. If he becomes available, of course Arsenal have got a chance. He's the player that Arteta loves the most. I think he'd do a fantastic job at Arsenal. But it'd be a lot of money, and I think Arsenal have got a lot of money to spend. So they'd be in the reckoning, but it ain't just going to be Arsenal. Barcelona are looking for a striker. There's lots of teams looking for a striker that will be very tempting to him. So we'll have a chance, but I would not be pinning my hopes on that at all. I could more see Arsenal getting somebody like a Sesko. I really could. MK Gunner 24 says, my prediction, Isak, Liverpool. I'm not sure. Liverpool as well. I don't. Yes, if Salah leaves and players like that, he may want to go to Liverpool's another option for him. You are right. Gyökeres, Manchester United, Sesko, Chelsea, and we get Mateta or Morata. That's Arsenal. That was a player that apparently Arsenal were trying to get. Morata, who went to Galatasaray on loan. Listen, I know a lot of people that moaned about it at the time, but Kay says, Robbie, when you meet the Cronkies in person, you're all giddy and taking photos with them. Well, I'm sorry, Kay. Number one, I've never met the Cronkies in person. So I don't know how I'd be giddy and getting photos with people that I've never, ever met in person. So I don't know what you're talking about, my friend. Would you take Diego Costa, says Comedy Remedy? Listen, we're desperate right now. It depends on his conditioning and stuff like that. He's 36, but it depends on his conditioning. Why not give him a trial? See what his fitness level's like. See if he's still got it. See if he's still capable in playing in the Premier League. If he is, why not? If he's not, no. I mean, you don't want to take someone who's going to make you worse, but, you know. Arsenal was supposed to get a number 9, even if it was from a loan or from an academy. But let's hope the ones around will put up some good, more impact and scoring and taking the league. As I said, you know what I'm trying to do with today. I've had a couple of days of moaning and ranting and anger. I did an Invincible podcast earlier. I'm still angry in that. And then I've been driving home and I've just been like, it's what it is now. No amount of arguing, no amount of anger, no amount of blaming people. None of that is going to change anything right now. Come Saturday, we've got 3 forward players available for selection. 3 first-team forward players. We ain't got Saka. We ain't got Havertz. We ain't got Jesus. We ain't got Martinelli. They're all out. So, what's the point now? I've done all my moaning and groaning and my anger. And is it the Cronkies? Is it Arteta? Or is it this Ato guy? Lewis? Now we got to put all of that aside. And we got to get on with it. Mikel Arteta, like somebody said earlier, show us what you've got. You're culpable in this. You didn't want a striker in the summer. You thought it was good enough to go with what we had. You went with a small squad. Now the small squad is tested to the limit. What have you got? And as I said, players. Leandro Trossard, moaning and groaning at the start of the season. I'm not starting games, not wanting to celebrate at Aston Villa. What have you got? You can play every week now if you want, as long as you put the performances in. You could be an absolute hero between now and the end of the season. What have you got? Raheem Sterling, I'm going to prove to everybody what I've got. Go and prove it. Go and prove it. Martin Odegaard, the captain. Great. I love you as a captain. I love you as a player, but you've been having a bit iffy season. What have you got? Show us that you can lead and motivate these players, that they're not sulking and moaning and making excuses, that they just get on with it. Let's try and make this that we don't even think about the players that are out. Let's go out there, and I hope this is what he's saying to the players. Let's go and do something special. Players that let's see somebody come, and to be fair to Arsenal, we've seen this season. Players step up. We've seen, Urian Timber, adversity, injury, out for a season, come step up. Playing right back, left back, playing in games sometimes where you can see he's fatigued, but stepped up in the absence of Ben White, in the absence of players on the left, sometimes covering for Saliba. We've seen him step up. We've seen Miles Lewis-Skelly. At the start of the season, if somebody said, oh, Miles Lewis-Skelly is going to be starting at left back, you'd be like, what? Arsenal, what you do? What? This is ridiculous. Go and buy someone. How the hell are we relying on Miles Lewis-Skelly a 18-year-old kid from the academy to come in and step up. What? How's he going to play against Haaland? How's he going to play against Liverpool? All these, Spurs and that. What are we doing at Arsenal? But he's come in and he's stepped up. He's been excellent. Keeping Calafiori and Zinchenko, senior left backs, and Tierney out of the team. Ethan Nwaneri has come in the absence of Odegaard, did brilliantly playing in that number 10 role. Odegaard's come back, Saka's out. Come in, done brilliantly playing in that Saka role, got injured, has come back from the injury, looked even better. Other players now need to step up. It's your time. We've seen examples of players stepping up, right? Other players now need to step up. It could be a player from the academy. It could be a player that's been an unsung player. Could Kieran Tierney, who was set to go through the door and go to Celtic, could it be him who's actually going to come and say, well, you know what? I'm fit now. Mikel Arteta, I'm going to show you what I was made of and what you missed out on because I wasn't fit. But I'm fit now. Come and step up. Zinchenko has been having a poor season. Step up. Mikel Merino, you've had a really sort of quiet time. All right, yeah, you had the injury right at the start of your Arsenal career. You come in, you've been a little itty-bitty player. No, you're not going to be now. You're going to be a player that we need to rely upon, possibly even in a position taking over from Havertz. Can you do it? Can you show people what you're made of? Can you make fans say, wow, Merino? Bit like what Xhaka did when he stepped up after all those years of everyone saying, what does Xhaka do? Who is he? Why we got this guy? He stepped up. Can that be Mikel Merino? Declan Rice, with the leadership qualities that you have, with the ability that you have to play in multiple positions, can you be that guy? There's players in this team that got the character. Gabriel, Declan Rice, Odegaard. They've really got leadership qualities. Saliba. It's going to take everybody now, a collective effort to step up. And certain individuals now, it's time to come out of the shadows of a Saka, of your Havertz's and these sort of players and show everybody who you are. And this is why it's going to be really interesting. And this is why I'm turning my attentions to these things now. I'm not focusing on what's going on now. It's done. We'll go over that again. Well, we'll probably go over that again every time we lose a game. But we'll go over that again at the end of the season. But right now, there's games in the Premier League to play. There's games in the Champions League to play. Arsenal Football Club, players, what have you got? No time for crying, moaning, whinging. What have we got? Let me get through some more super chats here. Are emergency loans still a thing, Robbie? Yes, they are. Emergency loan only for a goalkeeper, though, Michael. You can't do emergency loans for players. Outfield players, you can only go and get a free, somebody who's not got a club. Yes, you can, but anybody's at a club, no. Hurtful Replies says, Arsenal can't win the league with this squad. Samuel says, love your work, Robbie. Stamford Hill boys says hello. By the way, Timber on the right wing. Again, option. Big up to Samuel. I used to work in Stamford Hill back in the day, back in my surveyor days, man. Worked in fond memories of Stamford Hill. Yeah, remember my manager for one of the companies was a rabbi. Good days. Right. I used to give him. Maybe I should give him a call and ask him to send some blessings up on Arsenal right now. We must play 4-4-2 with Zinni and MLS on the LM and RM. Yeah, left mid and right mid. Lobachevsky, maybe. Listen, I think we are going to have to get creative. Why don't we sign Mariano? Recently played right midfield. Yeah, listen, I'm sure. Well, no, actually, I was just about to say, I'm sure they're looking at free transfers, but knowing these lot, no, don't get mad again, Robbie. Um, Man thought Robbie knew the Cronkies. Laughing emoji says, "Car, I don't know the Cronkies. I've not met any of the Cronkies in person. I saw Stan Kroenke one time at a board meeting years ago, in which he said, "Hello, good evening, people." And then when it finished, he said, "Okay, thank you, goodbye." And that's all he said for the whole thing. He didn't say anything else. Right. So here's one. We could bring Akin Fenwa. Right. I saw him the other night. We was at that Super Bowl event together. Akin Fenwa. No, listen, number one, there's two reasons why I wouldn't get him. Number one, obviously, he's retired. And number two, he's the biggest and the most annoying Liverpool fan, right? He would deliberately play poorly just to make Liverpool win the league. He'd actually do that. He is a massive, massive Liverpool fan. Comedy Remedy says, Rob, did you see the Arsenal trying to get permission for Max Dowman to play? Still only 15. Yeah. Listen, we're desperate, man. We're desperate. He's a very talented player, by the way. Mohammed says, if Liverpool don't have issues with squad depth like we do, it's an easy title for them, bro. They are very fortunate. Listen, listen. They haven't really had any issues with any of their key players. And they're taking full advantage of it. And good luck to them. Well, not good luck to them. Maybe I don't mean it that way. But listen, they're doing the business at the moment. They're doing the business. So, yeah. Robbie met Ivan Gazidis. I did meet Ivan Gazidis. I met Ivan Gazidis a couple of times when he was at Arsenal, and yeah, I did meet him, but I've not met these new lot. Joel Farmer says, bring Aubameyang back. Well, you can't because Aubameyang is playing for another club. So that's it. Can't buy another player. No. Imagine bringing Aubameyang back. That would be funny. Him and Arteta. Listen, it's our last striker. It was our last striker that we had. So, yeah. And we haven't had one since. Out-and-out striker like Aubameyang. And we could do with somebody right now, just like him. Because, we're not scoring goals. Play Lewis Skelly up front, says Kenneth. Well, Lewis Skelly... he's a midfield player, more of a defensive player, defensive midfielder type player. But, yeah, we're going to have to get creative. We're going to have to get creative because the thing is about it, even though we're talking about the free forward players that we got, they can't play every week, can't play game in, game out. We've got Champions League games coming back. They're playing the second leg of the Champions League next week. Then next week, Friday, we got the draw for the Champions League. And then we go again. So Wednesday, Tuesday, Wednesdays, then weekend games. Lots of games to play. Hopefully Martinelli will be back soon, as soon as possible. Hopefully by the end of February, Martinelli's starting to be nearing getting back. And that brings another option. But as I said, it's not just about bodies. These guys are going to have to step up. They're going to have to rise. They're going to have to rise. If we were to have any chance of winning the Premier League. And as it stands, 7 points off. I think if Liverpool had won that game, it's quite significant. They would have got the 9-point lead. I thought it was kaput. I thought the league was completely over. But 7 points. Hanging in there. Get it down to like 4 points, it's game on. Squeaky bum time, isn't it? If you get it down to like 4 points. And as I said, Liverpool got some pretty tricky fixtures coming up. So ain't over yet. Definitely not over yet. But players are going to have to step up. Again, a free agent being suggested. Matas says Wissam Ben Yedda is a free agent. Yeah, why not? Why not? Why not even, as I said, even a trial? You give him a trial, you see what his fitness is like, and you know, because he's going to have to be really fit to play in the Premier League, but why not, you know? And let me do this as the final super chat. This is Nico. He says, your minions claim you are a genius, Super Mick. Show us now, and if you fail, please resign. He's harsh, isn't he? Mikel Arteta's going to have to step up as well. The whole Arsenal team's going to have to step up. We've done our moaning, we've done our groaning, but it is what it is. As it stands, no Kai Havertz now till the end of the season. Let me just read you the statement again. We can confirm, this came from Arsenal on their website today, that Kai Havertz has sustained a hamstring injury during the training session in Dubai last week. Subsequent assessments and specialist reviews have confirmed that the injury will require surgery, which will take place in the coming days. Soon after the surgery, Kai will begin his recovery and rehabilitation program, which is expected to extend into pre-season preparations for next season. In other words, he's out for the rest of the season. So that's the situation. No Havertz, no Martinelli, no Saka, and no Jesus. Is it no party? Or will the party still continue? We get to find out, starting with the game against Leicester this weekend. Don't forget, we're here every single night at 7 p.m, so make sure you join us. We're going to be here tomorrow. I think it's me and Turkish here tomorrow. That'll be an interesting one, so please join us at 7 p.m. tomorrow. Also, loads of great content out. The Supporters Club is out with Turkish and speaking to the guys there. That's absolutely brilliant. We've got Invincible podcasts coming out, and I think that's out now. Invincible podcast should be out. Really excellent interview with Dr. Andre, where he breaks down hamstring injuries. And also, don't forget, tomorrow is Valentine's Day, and if you want advice, go and check out Ty and Julian giving advice on Valentine's Day. And of course, on Saturday, the game is the early kickoff, Arsenal versus Leicester at the King Power Stadium. I'll be at the game. We'll be speaking to fans afterwards. And of course, we'll be in the studio doing a big watch along and our Starting 11 show. So make sure you check that out. Thanks for watching the show. And we'll be back tomorrow, same time at 7. Take care.
Love is like Arsenal's title challenge. Starts with hope, it gets intense, and then suddenly you're left wondering what went wrong. But don't worry, we've got you covered this Valentine's Day. We've called in the best in the business, or at least the best we could find, to help you with your relationship or love dilemmas.
Is your partner moving like a free agent, debating whether you're building for the future or just wasting wages on a flop?
Well, now it's time to listen to what the experts have to say.